All right, let's talk about what has to be the strangest battle of World War II. I mean, we're in the final chaotic days of the war in Europe. The Third Reich is collapsing, everything is just madness. And then this happens, an event so unbelievable, it literally sounds like it was ripped from a Hollywood script. So get this. This is one of only two known times during the entire war where American soldiers and German soldiers fought side by side. I mean, think about that. Fighting together. And this wasn't some accident or a misunderstanding in the fog of war. No, this was a conscious, desperate alliance. So the big question, the one we're going to dive into, is how in the world did this happen? Okay, just to really paint the picture of how absolutely wild this was, let's look at the teams. On one side, the defenders, you've got a handful of U.S. Army GIs. Then you add a German Wehrmacht major and his soldiers. Okay, weird. Then you throw in the high-profile French prisoners they were all there for, and a Waffen-SS officer who defected. And who are they fighting? A hardcore unit of the Waffen-SS. You just can't make this stuff up. So the date is May 5th, 1945. The place? A little town called Itter in Austria. Now, let's put that date in perspective for you. Hitler had killed himself just 5 days before this. The final unconditional surrender of Germany was only 2 days away. The war in Europe was basically over, but apparently nobody told the guys at Itter Castle. So you're probably wondering, why this castle? Why all the drama in this one remote spot in the Austrian Alps? Well, it all boiled down to who was being held inside. This place was holding some very, very important prisoners, what the Nazis called precious cargo. And here's this incredible contrast. I mean, look at it. Itter Castle looks like something straight out of a fairy tale, right? Tucked away in the beautiful Austrian Alps. But its purpose was, well, it was a nightmare. In 1943, the SS took it over and turned it into a high-security prison. And get this, it was run as a sub-camp of the infamous Dachau concentration camp. Its whole job was to house these high-value VIPs. And when we say high value, we are not kidding. We're talking 2 former prime ministers of France, 2 former commanders-in-chief of the entire French military. We've got Charles de Gaulle's sister in there. And just to round things out, a world-famous tennis champion, Jean Barotra. So yeah, these weren't just random prisoners. They were massive political bargaining chips. That's why the castle was so important to everybody. The Allies wanted to free them, and the die-hard SS wanted to, well, make sure they didn't get freed. So as the Third Reich is just completely falling apart, the SS guards at the castle basically see the writing on the wall. They take off, abandoning their posts. This leaves the French VIPs in this terrifying situation. Yeah, they're free inside the castle, but they're completely surrounded by roving bands of loyal SS troops who would absolutely kill them on sight. So what do? They grab whatever weapons were left behind and realize they have to get help, and they have to get it now. So they hatch a plan. 2 desperate missions, 2 messengers. First up is a Yugoslav handyman, Zvonimir Chuchkovic. This guy escapes and walks, get this, 64 kilometers to try and find the Americans. But when he doesn't come back right away, they can't wait. So the Czech cook, Andreas Krabat, grabs a bicycle and pedals off to the nearby town of Virgil, hoping to contact the Austrian resistance. I mean, talk about a race against time. And if you look at this map, you can get a sense of just how insane this gamble was. This wasn't a casual stroll or a bike ride. They were moving through territory that was still crawling with loyal German troops. Every single kilometer was a risk. Honestly, the courage of these 2 guys is what sets this entire unbelievable story in motion. And this is where the story goes from just dramatic to absolutely incredible. The cook's message makes its way to 2 men, a German Wehrmacht major and an American Army lieutenant, guys who, just a week earlier, would have been trying to kill each other. And the decision they make together? Well, it would go down in history. Okay, let's meet our key players. On the left, that's Major Josef Gangl. He's a German army officer, but he's already had enough of the Nazis. He defied his orders and actually joined up with the Austrian resistance. So when he gets the message for help, he knows he needs more firepower. So he goes looking for the Americans and finds Lieutenant Jack Lee. Now, at the same time, back inside the castle, the prisoners managed to convince this guy on the right, an SS officer, Kurt Siegfried Schrader, who was laid up recovering from wounds, to actually help them organize the defense. Unbelievable, right? And Lieutenant Lee? He doesn't even blink. He volunteers to go on the spot. But his rescue force, well, it was tiny. We're talking 14 American soldiers. plus Major Gangl and 10 of his former German artillerymen. That's it. A couple dozen guys, a mix of Americans and Germans, heading off to defend a castle against who knows how many SS. The odds were just not in their favor. They actually make it to the castle, and you can imagine the relief. But it doesn't last long. Because a loyalist Waffen-SS unit has gotten wind of what's happening. They're on their way, and they have two goals: capture or kill the VIPs, and kill the traitors defending them. The siege of Castle Itter was on. So, let's do a quick head count inside the castle. You add up the Americans, the Germans, and the French prisoners who were now armed and ready to fight, and you get a grand total of 36 defenders. And the attackers? The force coming to get them? More than 150 elite Waffen-SS soldiers, and they're bringing heavy machine guns and anti-aircraft cannons to the party. The odds were just completely, ridiculously stacked against them. Lee's one big advantage was his Sherman tank. He called her Besotted Jenny. He parked her right at the main entrance, basically using her as a pillbox to block the gate, and she was doing a great job providing crucial cover fire right up until she took a direct hit from a German 88. Just like that, their best defense was gone and they were wide open. And then you get a moment that is pure Hollywood. Seriously, they're running low on ammo, their radio's been smashed, and things are looking grim. But they know more American troops are somewhere in the area. So who steps up? Gene Barotra, the tennis star. The guy literally uses his athletic skills to vault over the castle wall, sprint through a hail of SS gunfire, and find the American reinforcements to guide them back to the castle. You could not write a better scene. And it worked. Botra's insane dash was a success. He found the 142nd Infantry Regiment and led them right to the fight. When they showed up around 4 in the afternoon, it was game over. The arrival of that relief force turned the tide in an instant. The SS attackers were completely overwhelmed, and just like that, the strangest battle of World War II was over. But victory wasn't without a price. Major Josef Gangl, the German officer who really put this whole alliance together, was killed. He was hit by a sniper while trying to move the French Prime Minister Paul Reynaud out of harm's way. He was the only one of the defenders to die that day. A true hero, and he's remembered as one in Austria to this day. So what happened to everyone else? Well, Captain Lee, rightly so, was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for his incredible bravery. The SS officer, who helped, Schrader, got a much shorter prison sentence because of what he did at Itter. The French VIPs, they were all evacuated and back in Paris by May 10th. And as for the attackers, about 100 of them were captured. A neat, tidy end to a very, very messy fight. You know, this whole story just leaves you with this one big question. For one day, the lines between friend and foe, between American GI and German soldier, they just vanished. These guys chose to fight for a common cause, not for the uniform they were wearing. Was it just a practical choice, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Or was it something more? A moment of real human clarity in the absolute chaos of a dying war? It really makes you wonder, when everything falls apart, who is your ally?